Hey everyone. So I initially made this for the Chaos Style community, but I thought I would share it with the greater Polkadot community to try and help people understand the very basics of OpenGov. Now, if anybody notices anything egregiously incorrect on what I talk about, let me know, and I will gladly send you some friend tokens as a reward, and I will re-record this video with updated information. So the agenda that we're going to go through is a basic overview of Gov1, kind of to remind people on the previous system. We're going to go through the key changes in OpenGov. We're going to go through how to vote. We'll talk about how to delegate votes. And then we'll get a bit more into the details with thresholds, preparation periods, decision period, confirmation period, and what are those things, right? So let's remind ourselves on the previous three entities that existed in Gov1. So you have the technical committee, which is basically a group of people that can fast-track emergency referenda and bypass the one referendum at a time rule. On Polkadot and Kusama, the technical committee is made up of Web3 Foundation and Parity. On Parachains, it's typically the development team of the project. Then you have the council, which is voted on by token holders, right? Anybody can be on the council as long as you get the correct, the most backing from the token holders. The council controls the treasury, tips, etc. And they can push through proposals to referendum. There's some other powers that they have, but let's just focus on these for now. Token holders are most people. They can put forward any any proposal that can be pushed into referendum in the future. The most endorsed/backed proposal in any given launch period is put through to referendum, and the ultimate authority on whether a referendum passes or not is in the hands of the token holders. So let's go through some of the life cycle, I guess, of referendum in Gov1. So typically there would be a discussion phase whereby the originator would kind of lay out their idea, right? And people can provide feedback. They can maybe mention that there's some technical aspects that are not included, or maybe ask if it's like a treasury thing. Ask about for the person to justify their expenditure, etc. So then what would happen is the originator would take that feedback from the discussion, hopefully, and push it to a proposal. Now, the proposal should include all required technical information, financial information, etc. And proposals are then endorsed/backed by the token holders. Then you have referendum, which is what most people will kind of be familiar with. It's the ultimate vote on whether something should be enacted or not. This is typically where you will see a lot of stuff on Twitter and Discord and stuff of please vote in the referenda, right? In the referendum. So let's talk about the key changes with OpenGov. It should be noted that on Kusama right now, there is Gov1 and OpenGov at the same time. Eventually, Gov1 will be phased out, and that's what we're talking about now, is the scenario where there is no Gov1. So the council is gone, the technical committee is gone, and the proposal system is gone. And what's new is the fellowship, which is a group of people who are technical experts and have contributed to the Polkadot and Substrate codebase. There's 45 of them right now. The fellowship has the ability to, I believe, and this is where I will probably be corrected, to kind of fast track or lower the threshold for root origin referendum, and I believe Whitelisted Caller referendum, but I might be wrong on that one. There is then different referendum tracks. There's 15 of them. We'll go through that later. And there's a new mechanism for voting, thresholds, etc. And there's agile vote delegation. Now, quickly, let's go through the old system, just to remind everybody. So this is on Polkadot. You would have the proposal system. You would endorse the proposal, and whichever proposal has the most kind of backing or endorsements would be pushed through to referendum. There's quite a few referenda live right now on Polkadot. I'm guessing the technical committee or the council has pushed it forward, right? let's go back to the slides. So like mentioned previously, there's 15 tracks now, right? So each track kind of has different powers. So the root track is the kind of the most powerful. It's what we're going to use to push through runtime upgrades. So it's the most, it has the highest threshold because it's the thing that is the most dangerous potentially, right? If we push through a malicious runtime upgrade, it's really bad. So the requirements are very high there. You then have other things like auction admin, which will be used to start parachain auctions. You have lease admin, which is used to swap parachain leases over to different parachain IDs. And then you have things like the small tipper, which is relatively low in power because it's only allowing you to spend up to 1 KSM at once from the treasury. So the thresholds for that should be considerably lower than the root track, for example. Now let's go through how to vote using Polkadot JS and then with NovaWallet. So head to Kusama on Polkadot JS, governance referenda, and you'll see this page with a bunch of referendum available. So in this case, let's look at referendum number 8, which is the Kintsugi/Interlayer referendum. And just for a little context, this is to kind of bring liveliness back to their parachain. There's a bit of a problem they have where it's not producing blocks. So they need to use the Whitelisted Caller origin because that is the one that has the power to kind of do the operations that they're requesting, right? So when we want to vote, you simply press vote. You input the vote value, and then there's conviction. So just to explain conviction, conviction is a method in which you can give your vote more kind of weight behind it, right? So you can choose to vote with 0.1x conviction if you're not that interested in the proposal, right? You just want to vote. Or if it's something that's very kind of important to you, you can go all the way up to 6x conviction, right? So in my case, that would mean that my 95 vote would be something like close to 600, right? Like 570 votes. And in return for having more weight behind your vote, your tokens get locked up. So you can see for 6x duration, it's like 256 days. Your tokens get locked up and you can't really use them, right? And then you simply select nay or I and sign and submit and put your password in, and the transaction goes through quickly. So let's just swap the scene really quick so you should be able to see everything. Let me open this and open this screen recording. So with NovaWallet, you simply open the application, select the vote tab at the bottom, and then you want to make sure you're on the correct system. So in our case, Kusama OpenGov. And then scroll down to the referendum you wish to vote in my case, number 11 here. And you can press read more to see some extra contextual information about the referendum, right? Like the write-up that the proposer has done. And then you can simply tap on vote. You can enter the amount of KSM that you wish to vote with, or you can reuse existing governance logs, etc. And then you can use the slider to change your conviction. And on this screen, you can see some other contextual information, such as your current governance logs and any changes in the locking period from your vote. Then you simply select aye or nay, in my case, aye. And again, there's more information. Review it, and then press confirm, and your vote will be counted. Great. So now I believe the next thing we're going to talk about is how to delegate governance votes. So governance, because there is 15 different tracks, you can assign your voting power for each specific track to a different entity or different person, right? So for example, if you wanted to give your voting power for this track number 11, the Treasurer, to Chaos now, you can do that whilst giving track number 1, the whitelisted caller track, to maybe somebody more technical who's on the fellowship, such as Gabe, for example. And let's go through how to do that. There's a few ways. We'll kind of progressively go through them, right? So the most simple way is to go to developer then extrinsics, select your account, and then choose conviction voting and this delegate extrinsic. This class is the track number, right? So you can find the track number from the referenda tab. We'll just go there again. So like 1 is whitelisted caller and 11 is treasurer. And again, let's quickly go back here. Or you can use this spreadsheet, which will be linked in the description, and you can see the track number here. So 0, 1, 10, blah, 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 right? So, for example, I want to vote on the whitelisted caller track, so we'll choose number 1. Then choose ID, and here you can paste the address of the person or entity that you wish to delegate your votes to. In my case, the Chaos Referendum Commission pure proxy is what I want to do. And you can set your conviction, so let's say 1x, and then your balance. A note about this balance is represented in planks, not in whole units of KSM. So for example, for you to vote with 1 KSM, you need to type 1 and then 12 zeros, right? And this would represent 1 KSM. Now you run into an issue where, because there's 15 tracks, and you can see that you're only voting on 1 track at a time, to vote on multiple tracks, you would have to go to utility and then batch call, and then like kind of one by one add them, right? So for example, for root, and go through it there, then press add item, and again go to conviction voting, and this time for the whitelisted caller track, which is number 1, and go through it one by one. It's kind of not the best. So there's a nice little tool, which I will again link in the description. It's currently up for a nice little tip from Math Crypto. So you can instead just paste the address that you wish to delegate to. This is the Chaos DAO pure proxy. You can choose the balance that you wish to vote with, and you can set your conviction, and then he's put a nice little tool to remove any existing delegations, right? So simply put all that in and generate your hash. Ooh, sorry, maybe I have done something wrong here. This is why we love doing stuff in one take. So let's simply do it this way and change it a little bit, and hopefully it works this time. Oh no. This is let me refresh it. This is the brilliance of doing stuff alive. Oh, it's because he updated it here. So now you can select the different tracks, which is cool. Or you can choose all. In our case, we'll choose all. And then you can generate hash. And now, hopefully it generates the hash, right? It was nice that it was updated whilst recording the video. It's pretty interesting. So if you have existing delegations, you can copy this in the same way that we're going to show, but I don't. So let's just copy this delegate extrinsic, right? And then we go to, again, developer extrinsics, and go to decode. Now we paste this call that we got from the website in, and then go to submission again. And you can see that it's done it all for us, right? So it chose the correct amount of conviction, the correct amount of balance, it chose the ID correctly, and it has every single governance track because we selected all, right? So it kind of does it for you. It's really nice and makes it a lot simpler. Again, will be linked in the description. So now we will kind of go through thresholds and the different periods, and hope that I get it all correct. So there is basically 3 different periods that we want to be aware of. There's the preparation period, or the preparing period, right? So every referenda needs the initial referendum deposit of 100, then the decision deposit, which changes based on the track, right? So, for example, you can see on this encounter referenda, there's no decision deposit, right? And why is that? It's because Whitelisted Caller referendum track requires 33,333.33 KSM decision deposit. So I'm guessing they're trying to find that amount of KSM. So once encounter puts in their decision deposit, there'll be some period of time that passes when it's in the preparation period. So because they're on the whitelisted caller, track, that period is 3 hours or 1,800 blocks. And for everything other than root and whitelisted caller, it's like 4 blocks. It's pretty quick. And the decision deposit, because we mentioned it, it's different for each track, right? And the smaller, less powerful tracks have a lower decision deposit. But right now, every referendum has this like 100 KSM deposit as well, which is maybe a little bit high, especially for like small tips and stuff like that. So then, once you have gone through the preparation period, you get to the deciding period or the decision period. It's kind of best to think of this as the voting period if you're having struggling on that. So the voting period or decision period lasts for 28 days for each referendum right now. That's the maximum amount of time. That amount of time does not need to elapse, but we'll go through why just now. So each different track has different thresholds that must be met. So at any time during the decision period, if this threshold is met, the referendum will go to the confirmation period. So for example, because we mentioned the Kintsugi vote previously, you can see that after 1 hour of the referendum being live, in order for them to go to the confirmation period, where ultimately it's decided if the referendum is enacted or not, they need like almost 6 million KSM turnout, right? Which is, there's 13 million KSM total, so it's like 45.69% overall turnout, right? Which is quite high. And the threshold requirement decreases over time. It's the same in every single track. It just decreases, right? So we'll look at another referendum right now because it's one that's a bit easier. For general admin, why we're choosing general admin? Because the very first referendum was under the general admin track, and it's to just send an on-chain remark that says expect chaos. So let's have a look at this. So you can see, even for this relatively minor thing, the initial threshold is very high. You need 50% of the network to come out and vote for this, right? And then over time it decreases a lot, right? To the point where, after this is 3 weeks, it's like 175,000 KSM, right? So it does get like progressively a lot easier to pass. Now, on Polkadot JS, it's kind of difficult to understand this right now. So this 99% is just representative of the current voting direction. And there's not really anything that kind of explains the current threshold that needs to be met in order for it to go into the confirmation period, right? So for this, we're going to use Nova Wallet because I believe it shows it the best. So you can see right now on this image that this is the same referenda to the Expect Chaos one. And you basically, the threshold here is the amount of KSM that needs to be the turnout. And once this threshold is met, depending on the way that the vote is directed, that's the way that it'll be either executed or not executed. So this threshold is constantly lowering, right? and getting easier to pass over time. And because we looked previously at the this thing here, a bit earlier than 3 weeks, but by week 3, because there's enough votes, there's over 175,000 KSM, it should pass, right, over time. If the threshold is never met during the decision period, then the referendum is never put into the confirmation period. It's simply kind of rejected, and the decision deposit and the 100 KSM like kind of referendum deposit is returned to the originator. So to clarify, right now Polkadot JS doesn't really show it in a really nice way. Nerve wallet, pay attention to the threshold, which is constantly lowering. Once it is met, then the vote direction will be taken into account. Now, during the confirmation period, the very last stage, right, which can last for different amounts of time. So you can see for root, it's like 3 hours, and for some other stuff, it's 3 hours. For some other stuff, it's like 2 days, 1 day. I believe if the vote swings into another direction, it restarts to some place. I don't know if it restarts the confirmation period or goes to the decision period again, but there's some... you cannot snipe at the very end of the confirmation period anymore. It will restart the counter, basically. There are some other this is going really into detail now. This 100 KSM deposit. Right now, if your referendum is successfully executed or enacted, the 100 KSM, I believe, just gets slashed. But if your referendum is not enacted, you get the 100 KSM back. But I believe that's not intended. I believe what the 100 KSM is kind of for is so that if somebody kind of, or if the network kind of disagrees with your referendum, they can use this Referendum Canceller track and cancel your referenda, and you would get slashed. So I believe that is kind of everything. Very long video, 22-minute video. If I have missed anything, let me know. And yeah, expect chaos, I guess.